Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, pause this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. In the context of this podcast, everybody refers to us and our cat. You are free to feel however you want about Rand, who is a fictional character. Don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
This is our last episode we're recording here.
Yeah, it is the last episode we'll record in this house. That makes me a little sad.
Well, we started season 2, The Great Hunt, in the basement of your mom's house.
That's correct.
So it feels appropriate that we have leveled up, but are still not quite where we want to be kicking off season 6.
Yeah.
Especially because Lord of Chaos, I can't emphasize this enough, I hate this book.
Yeah.
Like, I think I always just thought of it as an in-between kind of book that I didn't really feel anything about. But now I'm like, I genuinely do not like this book.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading it today, and we're talking about half of the prologue because Robert Jordan has started his heinous behavior of having, like, 100-plus page long prologues, which should be illegal. Like, he should be put in prison for that, I think. But,
yeah, I tried to divide them based on, like, how many points of view, only to then realize as I was reading that, of course, Nynaeve and Elaine and Fail have these pages long, unnecessary points of view, and I was like, I can't make us read 50 pages this week, and then, 20 pages next week, where it's crammed in with all the Black Aja
how hard can I roll
plotting.
my eyes?
I know.
Yeah.
So obnoxious. Sorry I interrupted.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, so we're reading half of the prologue, half of the world, not the world's longest prologue. I think that belongs to A Memory of Light or whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember Memory of Light.
Or whichever. I know one of them has like a 300-page or something ridiculous.
Memory of Light has a 200-page chapter titled The Last Battle, which is like the most upsettingly bad structure.
It can be multiple chapters.
They're just trying. Brandon was like, I will call Brandon by his first
Yeah,
name.
that's fine.
Brandon was like, it's to make it epic or whatever. And I was like, Brandon, I can't keep doing this.
I know. Multiple people have said to me when I've like joked about how The Last Battle, I mean, I haven't even read it, but I've joked about how unnecessarily long it is, and people are like, it's supposed to, like, form is supposed to mimic content, and by the time you finish reading it, you feel as fatigued as if you just fought in the last battle. And I guess I am a very particular type of reader, but I would never sit down and read 200 pages if it was in one sitting.
I don't even think I read it in one. I think I had to break for dinner midway through.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I've done, like, marathon reading sessions, of course, when things are, like, when a book is really good, but there is no way I would read 200 pages uninterrupted. I'd have to go to the bathroom. I would get hungry.
A Memory of Light also is not a very good book.
Yeah. And it's not like I'd be super engaged in Elaine leading the forces of the light.
Makes me so angry. It also just, Robert was like, I'm going to have this whole, I don't know why we're talking about fucking A Memory of Light.
I don't know. We're here,
7-8 books before we get there, but I have to. It's because I'm so close to being
really
done
close.
With it.
Like 6 weeks or something, right?
Yeah, not much longer. I just did blog 62, so yeah, 7 weeks. By the end of 2020, we'll be finished with A Memory of Light, and we'll be caught up on transcripts.
Woo!
Which is 2 good things to happen in 2020.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if I can count being done with A Memory of Light as a good thing for 2020, because it was like I had to suffer through A Memory of Light through all of 2020.
Yeah, she's been reading her first.
I think I cursed us by coming back to A Memory of Light. Anyway, Robert was like, I am going to have the whole 200-page chapter be about the last battle, like, proper, about, like, the battle, what you expect for the last battle, you know, actual battlefield engagements, etc., etc. But then it just, like, there's a whole other climax. And the transition from one to the other is so clumsy. It's, like, really painful. Like, Perrin just barely woke up from a coma.
Perrin's, like, been unconscious for, like, 6 days or whatever,
Perrin,
right?
It was only one day, because that's the entire last battle. But it feels like...
Sounds like fake news.
Well, I mean, the entire last battle lasted weeks, yeah. But, like, the big battle lasted one day.
Big battle.
Big battle, lady. Anyway, yeah, Perrin just woke up from his coma, and now Matt's gotta, like, fast travel across the continent, a la Game of Thrones Season 7.
I did not engage with that at all.
I'm glad that you at least escaped that.
I am very good at having no fucking clue what's going on in pop culture.
That's nice.
I think it's just natural obliviousness.
You're just, like, dodging things that could
Like
be bad
Keanu
for
in
you.
The Matrix.
Like Keanu in The Matrix. You're just dodging the really painful pieces of pop culture.
It's like, ooh, there goes Game of Thrones.
There goes Game of Thrones.
There goes the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
There goes some of the biggest disappointments of our generation.
Just, like, dodging it. Woo. There goes the Name of the Wind or whatever.
Still not over. It'll never be over. Which is the worst part to me. Like, if he would just finish the goddamn trilogy, then maybe I could, like, you know, hold a Viking funeral for the part of me that read the book. Mm-hmm. Don't get angry, everyone. You all know I hate Name of the Wind, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No, oh my god, Al tweeted something the other day. It was like, I've never read The Name of the Wind, but I've heard so many people dunk on it that I just, like, hate it so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Finally, someone who trusts my expert opinion.
I mean, I'm sure you are a large part of that, but
I
want to connect with the other people.
Well, yeah, one voice of many.
Yeah, who are these other people?
Who are these unseen people? I need more support in my hatred of Name of the Wind. I need you to come forward if you also hated that The Name of the Wind had 0 female characters and was all about one dude being so good and his dick being so big. Okay, anyway.
Your dick being dig isn't even your dick being
your dick being dig.
Whatever.
Dick digger.
That's not what I'm saying. It's not even that important. Men.
I mean, yeah. I don't really know. It's, you know, it's the metaphor. His metaphorical dick is metaphorically huge. I know nothing about his actual.
It would be like, I feel like Rothfuss Patrick. His first name.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Patrick
would be like, his dick is really big.
He does have that whole scene about, like, pleasuring a love goddess. Ew. I don't know. I mean...
Shit.
Haven't I told you about that
Yes,
scene?
you have.
I haven't read it. I just read it in the Wikipedia article.
Blocked it from my memories.
So, I mean, for all I know, Patrick was, like, he's really good at oral sex. But what I am more inclined to believe is that it's a classic. His dick is huge. Which doesn't guarantee pleasure for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like between 70 and 80% of women can't climax without clitoral stimulation. Yeah. So,
like, that scene would have been way better if he just, like, whipped out a vibrator. If the scene was like, here I am with a magic love goddess, she's, like, gonna trap me or whatever. I don't know, I haven't read the scene. But then he's like, I've got a way out of this, and invents a vibrator.
He's over there in the corner with, like, a screwdriver.
I mean,
some batteries.
He's the guy who can do anything that the plot needs him to do. So, yeah, I would believe that he invents a battery-powered vibrator in 14th century fantasy land or whatever.
I should also not be gender not inclusive. Say that. It's not just women. Anybody with
70 to 80% of people with is it clitorises or clitori?
Clitori. 70 to 80% of people with clitori.
Welcome to season 6.
Can you tell how desperate we are to not talk about
Yeah, the energy is rancid. The only thing getting me through this is the prospect of book 7.
Yeah, book 7 is really fun. But this is Everybody Hates Rand.
I was never going to do it. I don't think I could.
Podcast. That's Emily. I am Sally. This is our final episode in this house. We have, like, no furniture left.
Yeah, Tybalt's really upset.
We are moving through it. But reading this first half of the prologue, I was it's like in classic Robert Jordan prologue style. It's just like 97,000 vignettes that are somehow supposed to die together by the end of the book. So you're like juggling a lot of stuff before you even get to, you know, the story.
Yeah, and mostly it is like the points of view we read at least do not need to be in the prologue.
No, of course not. The first points of view we read are like, there's Demandred talking to the Dark One.
Which, like, yeah, fine, prologue material.
Yeah, but then we go over to like Nynaeve and Elaine, who are just like doing their Salidar stuff, which could have just been part of the first chapter. Same with Fail. Mm-hmm. Those are the three we read, right?
The four,
yeah. I know kind of Nynaeve and Elaine blurred together in my head, but yeah, and so like I was reading these like vignettes, and I was like, I hate all of these plots that we're talking about. Like, I really don't care about the Forsaken and their whole, like, we're all deeply incompetent, we're just sort of stumbling over each other and accidentally getting killed. It's like, it's not interesting to me. Like, Nynaeve learning how to heal stilling and gentling is interesting, because we love it when someone is just doing what they're competent at. But, you know, that's, like, a nugget buried in all of this, like, Salidar nonsense about, like, picking the new Amerlin and their machinations.
Sending various delegates to Rand, which is, like, its whole thing that is going to be a huge part of this book.
Yeah. And just, like, the whole, like, we cannot accept the fact that the Dragon Reborn, as a person who is not us, has any degree of autonomy. And it's like, I'm so bored of this. I understand you feel like Rand is sort of a loose cannon, because he is. But, like, you can't just control his every action. That's not how anything works. And then we get to just Fail being like, can't believe Perrin left me alone to hold court. And it's like, yeah, that's fucking shitty. Go yell at your husband.
Yeah, but it's like, I do not care about the Two Rivers.
Yeah.
People, various issues, things needing judgment, especially because, like, the vast majority of them are so deeply irrelevant. Like, this buildup of the two rivers. The Two Rivers as a swiftly growing urban center, as, like, refugees come pouring in from Eridaman and Terabon, would only be interesting insofar as the Two Rivers continued to be a setting, but it does not. This is literally the last time we will be in the Two Rivers.
Yeah, because we're setting up Perrin going off to do his shit with Rand. Mm-hmm. But the scene with Fail is, like, particularly upsetting, because she keeps talking about, like, the social contract between nobles and commoners and how much she owes them.
I wanted to guillotine her.
Yeah.
Reading it.
She was like really on her rich bitch energy. So was Elaine, actually. Elaine was like, I'm queen now. And it's like, go away. Send me to Camelin. I need to take charge and calm all my people down. It's like, Camelin's doing fine. They don't need you.
I mean, it would have changed a lot, though, if Elaine did get sent to Camelin right off the bat, because that would have removed her from all of the Abu Dar nonsense where I did not want her.
No, she's rancid in Abu Dar.
Yeah, and B, it just would have sped things along quite a bit in Camelin, which is what this series desperately needed.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all know, and we have a hard time articulating it, that books 8 through round about 11, which is a huge chunk of the series, Robert Jordan just lost the fucking plot. Mm-hmm. Like, there are only, I don't know, 5 or 6 things that happen that are actually truly relevant to the plot in those books. Mm-hmm. You get, like, the cleansing of Sidon, the Bull of the Winds, Edwin taking over the White Tower again. Most of these things could have been condensed into, like, 2-3 books tops.
Yeah, because there's just, like, these pages and this is something we've talked about before, but, like, just the fact that the prologue is, like, 83 pages. And, like, even Nynaeve and Elaine's points of view drag on too long, because there's just, like, pages of unnecessary content.
Mm-hmm. And, like, updating us about what was going on. Like, we spend so much time, Nynaeve, rehashing the fact that, oh, surprise, Merrigan is here. Merrigan is Mogadeen. Here's how we solve the problem of her being tied to us via an Adam. And it's just, like, that was all pretty fucking obvious at the end of the Fires of Heaven.
Yeah.
And no one is picking up Lord of Chaos as the first book in the series.
Yeah, I mean, God, you shouldn't.
Yeah, I can't he would read Demandred's all caps encounter with the Dark One and be like, well, that's good. Closed.
Who is this bumblefuck Demandred
Put it
who's
back
just
on
like
the shelf.
also on his rich bitch energy, also needs to be guillotined.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like all really painful and just like, yeah, setting up these plots that I'm just like, book 6 is so painful. Like we've talked about, there's only also in book 6 2 events of importance really, which is Egg being raised Amerlin and Rand being put in a box. That's not even important.
Dumai's Wells, yeah.
Yeah, that whole Rand being in a box to Dumai's Wells could be scrapped.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. We have in this book, I think, the central plot as it comes to Rand is this parallel energy of Egg becoming the figurehead of the White Tower and the Aes Sedai as a whole, which eventually, the series is building up to once she consolidates all the Aes Sedai, and Rand just gaining a total distrust of every woman who can channel, which isn't as interesting or as productive as Robert Jordan seems to think it is, because it's not like Rand had a whole lot of trust for women who could channel to begin with.
Yeah.
The whole, point of this book seems to just have women who can channel hurt him so that some of his, paranoia has been made manifest. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, too, especially because, this is the book where we have, the 2 White Towers running parallel to the creation of the Black Tower. And it's of course we have Mazrim Tem, the greasiest, most disgusting man alive, at the head of the Black Tower. But we also are introduced to, a lot of really lovely men who can channel, who become folded into various retinues and become, trustworthy characters at the same time that the story is men who can do magic, good. Every woman who can do magic, a raging bitch.
Yeah.
So it just reinforces this idea that we keep coming back to. Not reinforces the idea, provides more evidence to this statement that we keep coming back to, that the Wheel of Time is actually a very subtly misogynistic text.
Yep, lady channeler's bad, the male channelers are obviously supposed to be hit or miss, but as I've been talking about in my blog, as I've been coming to terms with Logain, who's also not a central figure in this book, but a pretty important figure as the one who first gets healed by Nynaeve of his gentling, I guess it's called. The thing that Robert Jordan tried to do with the Black Tower is make just a set of good guys and a set of bad guys, and there's no real sense of moral ambiguity in there. And the fact that Logain is not a dark friend puts him in the camp of the good guys, even though by all accounts Logain is not a good guy. Logain tried to become the fucking Dragon Reborn with no evidence that he was actually the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah.
As literally, every television show, movie, book has warned us, people who seek power should not get power.
Yeah.
And we see that even in this series with Rand not wanting to be the Dragon Reborn, Egg not necessarily wanting to be the Amerlin seat, but then making the most of it once she is. Mm-hmm. So, Logain started a war, literally, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, and, all of the Ashaman at the end of this book commit just,
rampant war crimes.
Yeah, they're just, literally just, blowing people up.
Yeah,
and,
you have
throwing bombs at people.
The Black Tower, even if you do produce, a few, a handful of our favorite boys.
Yeah.
Narishma would die for him.
Yeah.
Niald and Grady would die for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100% of the time. But, Mazrim Tam has just, created a Hitler youth camp. There is no room for these men to, have any sense of decency or morality toward their own magical powers, because he's just, enforcing. Mm-hmm. And that's not all on Mazrim Tam. Obviously, people have agency and can choose to do their own things, but, Rand just, handed the reins to a sociopath and was take it from here, bud. And Mazrim Tem was like, violations of the Geneva Convention's coming right up, buddy.
Yeah, he's like, on my to-do list today, violate every article of the Geneva Convention. And Rand's like, great, thank you.
See you later.
You're doing good work.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, and it's just, like, very frustrating, because I just feel like, again, I haven't read very far into, like, the Black Tower being a thing, but it just feels like there is not the narrative hatred of the Black Tower the way there is narrative hatred of the White Tower.
Yeah, the only people we see really reacting poorly to the Black Tower are women who can channel.
Yeah.
Which is just, like, sort of reinforcing this notion that there's all this prejudice against men who can channel. Which, I mean, I get it. That's the world that we're living in.
Yeah.
But now there is narrative prejudice against women who can channel.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just very frustrating because, yeah, Rand's like, here is this guy who is very obviously evil.
Yeah.
Like, so
It's,
obviously
like,
evil.
painful.
And, like, Davram Bashir is over here like, this man is a war criminal.
Yeah.
And a disgusting person. Please give him to me for appropriate justice channels. And Rand's like, no, this is my teacher boy.
Like, I mean, Rand really is just the loosest cannon. Yeah. Rand is just, like, flying like a machine gun come off its axis, just going everywhere. It's nuts.
Yeah, and this is truly one of the worst instances of it. Because it's just like, I know we're sitting in our, you know, Robert Jordan positions us as the almighty seer of everything, but how could you not look at that person and be like, I feel like I've said this before, but if there was, like, one woman consulting Rand, she would have been like, that is the skeeziest motherfucker I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, then the sad thing is Rand does have women who are around him.
Of course, he's just not listening to
He's
them.
got a literal bodyguard of maidens.
Yeah. Like, is Sulin not like, gross?
Yeah, why doesn't Sulin step into an advisory capacity here and be like, that man's terrible?
I mean, it's disgusting.
Ugh. Ugh.
Anyway, Mazrim Tem is my arch nemesis.
I mean, we're saying that this book is nuts, and that's sort of what Robert Jordan was going for. We have this bracketed points of view of Demandred at the beginning of this book and at the end of this book. At the beginning, he is receiving orders from the Dark One. We don't know what those orders are. Mm-hmm. At the end, it ends with something like him being like, have I done well, great lord? And the Dark One's like, maniacal laugh. No. Shut up, you're fired. This is, you know, Robert Jordan's clever ruse to try to make us feel like he's actually done something with the villains in this book.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence to that at all.
Yeah.
None of the Forsaken, with the exception maybe of Arengar, who does successfully infiltrate the the rebel camp.
White Tower
pretty close
exile.
to Egg in the process. Most of them are doing absolutely nothing. Demandred himself, we have... okay. We know, with the benefit of hindsight, spoiler alert, that Demandred is in Shara, building up his, support camp. Which is a great reveal in the last book, but then does give us some hindsight for the rest of the series, in that how could Demandred possibly be doing anything on this continent if he's off on a, fantasy
Different
Australia
continent, yeah.
Getting all of the people together there to prep for a fun last-minute assault.
Surprise, it's the Sharn invasion.
Surprise, it's the Sharn invasion. He literally can't do anything here. It's just so Robert Jordan can be like, maybe Mazrim Tem is Demandred, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, no one's fooled, because no one cares.
Yeah.
Maybe Mazrim Tem is Demandred, maybe he's not. It doesn't really change the fact that he's clearly a bad guy.
Yeah, and it's like, also, like, Mazrim Tem does not have to be one of the Forsaken to be, like, a bad dude.
Yeah, like, that should be part of the point of this series, is that the Forsaken clearly can't do their fucking jobs, so they need some, new assistants.
Yeah.
Like
some executive assistants who went to business school.
This book, does start on a hilarious note with Demandred being like, okay, I don't want to freak you out, but Robin's super dead.
Yeah.
Lanfear and Asmodean both disappeared. I haven't heard from Moghedien in weeks. I don't know what you want me to do about this whole situation. And apparently what the Dark One wants to do about this situation is just resurrect more Forsaken, which is absolutely, the worst possible response to it, considering how deeply incompetent all his people. I mean, 4 of them in a single day.
Yeah.
Wiped out.
No, there's a very good line when Nynaeve's like, Moiraine's become like a legend among the Aes Sedai because she killed not 1 but 2 Forsaken.
2 Forsaken.
Which is very good, because I always forget she killed whatever that motherfucker's name is.
Belal.
Yeah, who was on screen for like a millisecond before Moiraine just balefired the fuck out of him.
See ya.
Yeah. The Dark One is also like, Demandred, would you use balefire? And Demandred's like,
It's like, I mean...
I really do not want to.
Do I have to, Dad?
And he's like, what if I just killed Randolph, or we wouldn't have to worry about it?
And Dark One's like, no, I just want you to use balefire.
And he's like, no.
Please, don't make me. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I sort of lost my... I just think it's so funny how Demandred opens this whole scene with, like... Because this is the last time that the significant number of Forsaken got, downed, which is what makes 5 such a good ending. After this is part of Robert Jordan's problem as he sort of kicks his heels in stasis. There is, like, absolutely... You can't knock off that many threats anymore, because they're quickly losing numbers even at the resurrection rate. And at the resurrection rate, we simply cannot keep track of them.
Imagine being the Dark One, though, and be like, I'm going to resurrect Elaine Fear, only to find out she's in, like, another dimension or whatever.
She's like, oh, fuck, damn it. Yeah, like, I mean... Who is supposed to keep track of Arengar, who once was Balthamel, who now is masquerading as a woman named Halima? Like...
People say Arengar to me, and I'm like, I don't... Who is she?
Who is she? I mean, you see her at the end of this prologue, I think? I think that's when they get introduced.
I think so.
Which is just like... But what? Do you have to?
Yeah. Also, maybe Dark One consider that your Forsaken are doing a really shit job.
Yeah, it would be so much more interesting if the Dark One, learned how to, like, manage his investments a little bit better and sort of gave up on the Forsaken as a bunch of incompetent ninnies.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm going to start, like, fully investing in, I don't know, either new bad guys or some sort of new way to threaten people, because clearly simple bad guys aren't cutting it. Like, Robert Jordan, for some reason, thought it would be this groundbreaking notion to have a bunch of deeply incompetent people as bad guys, just to be like, see, get it? They're people, too. But it's like, first of all, that's not particularly threatening. Like, you're taking away some of the mystique. Mm-hmm. It's like basic film and literary theory. Like, Darth Vader is scary until he takes off the mask. Yeah. Because of his cool-ass breathing shit that he does.
Yeah, and his sick cape.
I know, Darth Vader's just, like, a brilliantly put-together figure who, as soon as you take away any of his mystique, becomes less frightening.
Yeah, I mean, if you were at the beginning, like, this is Anakin Skywalker.
This is Anakin Skywalker. Local narcissist.
And really bad father.
Really bad father, absentee father, dropped in lava by his best friend. That's how bad he is at being a person.
I mean, he, like, murderer of children.
Murderer of children. Local
dipshit.
Yeah. We would just be like...
not interested in that at all.
That's just exactly what's happening with the Forsaken.
It's like, look at their string of incompetencies, and I'm supposed to be like... Lanfear's such a good villain.
Like, it was only good insofar as, like, Asmodean was around.
Yeah.
Being, morally gray.
Yeah.
And us being like, oh, see, he is a human and that there is a capacity to change in some way. That's human Robert Jordan, not failure.
I mean, yeah, it's like, it's fine if your villains fail, but it's the, like, you need to have that distance.
Yeah, people don't like villains to fail because the villains are bad at being villains. They want the villains to fail because the heroes are better than them.
Yeah.
That's like simple arithmetic.
It's the hero's journey, baby.
In your fantasy writing.
Yeah.
It just was a vastly failed experiment that for some reason, at this point in the series, he didn't kick out the window and go, okay, time to refocus.
Yeah.
Because clearly he's still got the brain juice for interesting villains.
Yeah.
This is, book 7 is where we get the Golem?
Yeah, the Golem.
That dude's freaky as hell.
Yeah.
You can do it, RJ.
Yeah, you can do it.
He just didn't want to.
Yeah, he's like, whatever, I have Demandred, I guess I'm stuck with him.
I have Demandred and now I have no other option.
It's all I have! Oh no!
Demandred, the only one who hasn't failed me yet.
Yeah.
Oh, wait until book 14.
Stupid.
I'm sure you'll manage something.
It also really bothers me that his name is Demandred because I always read it as Damodred, you know?
Yeah, like Moiraine, Damodred.
And Glad, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, all names turn out to be very similar. It's like the 100 chimpanzees rule or whatever.
I mean, it's probably
Come up
just
with
because
enough fantasy names. A bunch of fantasy names will end up looking the same.
We should just put Tibble on the laptop and see what he comes up with.
Yeah, well, I bet you could come up with fantasy names too. Anyway, we haven't really been providing a plot summary, but that's because there is no plot to summarize.
The plot is summarizing book 5. Is
Yeah.
what it's doing.
It's like, hey, tons of Forsaken are just out of the picture. Nynaeve and Elaine still in fucking Saladar.
Yeah.
Nynaeve's trying to heal Swan and Leanne, not making a lot of progress. They do have Moghedien, not literally on a leash, but metaphorically on a leash. Elaine has been told that her mother is supposedly dead, but does not believe it, or says she does not believe it. Seems to be in some form of denial. And is desperate to get back to Camelin, which again, I think, would have been a more productive use of page space, especially because Elaine and Min showing up together would have been an interesting thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, the Aes Sedai are like, you can't leave because you're training to be an Aes Sedai. And it's like, okay, the apocalypse is coming. Like, can we make some adjustments here? Like, let's get, like, also, I just feel like it makes, like, they would get more gains by having someone who's connected to the rebel Aes Sedai Tower being literally in charge of a full ass country than by keeping her. Because it's not like, especially once Edwene is lifted to Amerlin, it's not like Elaine's gonna be like, oh, fuck the Aes Sedai rebel camper. I don't know. It's a decision that doesn't make any sense.
Well, just
plot-wise or narrative-wise.
Elaine is clearly competent enough to be an Aes Sedai at this point.
Yeah.
In terms of magic powers. There's not much she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And there's not much, magical growth we see from her in the next 5 books that she hasn't already covered.
Yeah.
So, I don't even think she is technically an Aes Sedai. I mean, Edwene raises her, but she can't, like, take the test or anything because she's pregnant when they get back in the tower. Which, whatever. But it's like, yeah, or just, like, use that as an excuse to send 1 or 2 Aes Sedai with her.
Yeah.
To be, like, her continued teachers, mentors.
That's
like,
fine.
There are so many ways around this problem.
It's so weird. Also, Elaine could just, like, go. She doesn't have to stay.
I know, Elaine just be like, hey, Tom, I'm out.
And Tom would be like, sick.
Great.
Let's go back to Camelin.
Yeah, you, me, and Uno.
Your boyfriend.
Yeah. Uno, the best man in the series.
Yeah. And Min, I guess.
And Min, I guess, which, Min showing up, and immediately flinging herself onto Rand's dick is, like, whatever. But it would be slightly more interesting if you had Min and Elaine occupying the same space. Being like, hey, we're both in love with you. Deal with that now, please.
Yeah. Instead of this, like, this revolving door of women.
Yeah. Now Avienda's gone. Time for Min to move in. Avienda only came in after he'd made out with Elaine a few times. Ugh.
It's somehow so much more gross that they never, like, occupy the same space together.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not, like, never, but, like, especially in these early books.
Yeah, like, they get one scene together, all 3 of them in Rand, and it's where they're, like, bonding him as their mutual warder or whatever.
Min?
Yeah, they, like, figure it out. I don't know, it's some dumb shit.
Stupid.
Doesn't make sense. It's not really a warder bond, it's more like an empathic bond, which is just like, people who are having sex regularly don't need to have an empathic bond. In fact, I would argue that would not deepen your relationship because it would totally negate, not totally, but really fuck up your communication skills,
Yeah,
which
I was-
all 4 of you already do not have.
bad at. I also feel like it's very disgusting that Rand is, a victim of magical violation by being bonded as a warder against his will. And Elaine is like, I absolutely have to bond Rand as my warder. I don't give a shit what he says about it. I will do it against his will if he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's all bad.
It's all bad.
It's my tagline for this season.
It's all bad. I can't think of anything. It's just so funny, I guess, all of it. Elaine goes to find Min because Min is going with this delegation of 9 Aes Sedai to Camelin.
I mean, they're sending 9 Aes Sedai. Why can't they just keep treating Elaine? The Aes Sedai are already going.
That's like half your Aes Sedai anyway. Your numbers
so
are so
upset.
slim.
Elaine could just be one of those 9. She's powerful.
Yeah, duh. Also, it would just stop having her and Nynaeve be fucking characters together.
Yeah.
I would love that. I can't emphasize enough how desperately I want them to not be near each other ever again.
I know, they're so miserable together. There's so many opportunities for them to not be together, too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, why do they both have to go to Ebudar? You don't.
Yeah, or like when they're leaving Ebudar, Nynaeve is like, I'm gonna go back for Matt. And Elaine is like, no. And Nynaeve's like, okay.
Yeah, it's just like borderline infantilizing how the men pretty instantly get to have their own solo adventures. And the women are generally trapped together. Or, eggs stuck with the Rand and Matt camp until book 6.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, she's still with Swan and Leanne and a
Yeah.
various coterie of good guys. So, yeah, Min and Elaine chat and are like, this sucks. And Elaine's like, let's not talk about it. Let's talk about something happy. And Min's like, all I can think of is Rand. And I'm like, you guys are so miserable.
I know.
If I met either of you in real life, Christ.
I feel like I have met these people, though.
I haven't met them, but I have seen them on the Bachelor franchise.
That's a good point. Elaine would be the Bachelorette in
Yeah,
a
they
heartbeat.
seem like they're on, like they're in front of a bunch of cameras.
Yeah, who are just like, man.
So how do you feel about, this one mediocre man? And they're like, oh my god, I love him.
Wouldn't I want to have his babies? I would die to have his babies.
I can just really see us having a family together and a future.
The only thing I have to say about Fail's plot is that I also would like to guillotine her. She's just like, I am rich, and therefore I know everything that these peasants should be doing. All their problems are beneath me. I am the best ever because I was born into nobility, and fuck everybody else.
Yeah, she's like, I know exactly what to do. Girl, you're 18 years old.
Right, you've
Or
never
whatever.
lived in a farming community. How the
Yeah.
fuck do you know what this person is supposed to do with their farmland?
And she's like, damn, these people are so resilient. They would probably do well in Saldia. And I'm like, you've never spent literally any time away from home.
I know.
Until you lived with these people. So who are you to say whether they're resilient or not?
I know.
Maybe people are just like that. Maybe Saldia isn't that fucking special, Fail. Yeah, it's just mega immature vibes. As usual. Coming from
Fail
Fail.
shit. Yeah.
She finds Perrin and is like, what's up? And he's like, Rand is... Oh, no, that was actually a funny aside. She's like, I thought you'd be with, Bob and Ted or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, I feel him tugging on me. And she's like, Ted? Like, now?
He's like, no, Fail.
He's like, no, I'm not receiving a hand job from one of the servants. Fail.
She's like, damn, that would have been hot.
She's like, well, it would have been at least slightly more interesting.
And less upsetting.
He's like, no, I gotta get to Rand. And she's like, okay, great. And he's like, you should stay behind because it's too dangerous. And she's like, whatever you think is best, but really I'm going to, bully you until you take me with you. And what feels like the entire rest of the Two Rivers.
Yeah, seriously. They take like
Everyone.
million people.
Yeah, just so many people. we're like, I will be in Perrin's army. And he's like, great. We're going to march all the way to Camelin, and it will take us about 80% of the book.
And then when we get there, Rand will send us through a magical gateway almost immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it is fucking nice that Perrin is mostly not in this book either.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't stand him and Fail, but yeah, there's simply not that much to talk about. And I worry that we'll be like this a lot in Lord of Chaos, and I apologize in advance, I guess, but also, you know, no one hates Wheel of Time like Wheel of Time readers.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sorry, I guess, that I've been tweeting so much shit about Wheel of Time on our Twitter, but between reading Path of Daggers and rereading Lord of Chaos, I'm not in a great place, me and Robert Jordan right now.
Ari.
Yeah, and Emily reading A Memory of Light. We're not, like, doing hot. You can just stick with us till book 7 when we get to Fantasy Carnival. We'll be doing a little better.
Fucking rad.
But we will do our best to bring something interesting to Lord of Chaos.
Yeah.
No promises. Nothing promised, no regrets, to quote the great Swedish pop sensation ABBA.
Which is pretty on brand for us. Okay, that started Lord of Chaos. And that was our last episode, recorded in this kitchen right next to the fridge. So hopefully when you hear us next week, the audio quality will be at least slightly better. But you know, who knows? I'm sure the new house will find fun new ways to surprise us.
I mean, Emily had to fight for like 2.5 hours to figure out what the fucking Wi-Fi password is.
I'm still mad about that.
So, we'll see. We will see.
But, that's that. The usual social media, follow us, check out our Patreon. We just finished recording, our last viewing of the last episode of Watchmen, so that'll be coming out this Thursday as you're listening. This Friday as you're listening, I should be back playing Final Fantasy because our TV and our Xbox will be set up again. Sorry for the absence last week. And you know, all the usual. I only have 7 more A Memory of Light blogs, so if you want to watch me die slowly and painfully in real time, you can bandwagon on for that one.
It's at the $1 a month level on our Patreon, so it's really quite a steal.
Yeah, it is.
$1 a month, you'll get access to like 2,000 of Emily's
access
blogs.
to my slowly declining
Yeah.
mental state.
Yeah.
I could like sell this to fucking psych journals.
Yeah, and be like,
Do you want to watch me go insane?
we would love to, actually. Thank you.
It's real.
Yeah, so you can hop onto that and enjoy some weekly shenanigans while Emily gets through the final slog.
Yeah, and late this week or early next week, Sally and I will be talking about Alexander the Great on our $5 a level tier if you're part of that. So if you've ever wanted to know about the batshit drama that is Greek and Macedonian history at that time, hop on.
Last Sunday, we were sitting on the couch and Emily just kept like I was working on something and she just kept like laughing to herself because she was working on her Alexander the Great presentation and she kept just being like, Greek history is so whack, so it should be quite, that was a fun, promising review.
It's a lot.
So
I'm pretty much not going to do a PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to I think we'll just film us on the couch and I'll just speak from my heart about what's going on.
I think you could.
Like a story. I'll wear a turtleneck.
Ooh, excellent.
And like have a pipe, you know?
Very sexy.
Do
Do you even own a turtleneck?
No.
Okay,
They look terrible
I
on
own
me,
several.
yeah.
No, turtlenecks don't look terrible on anyone.
They kind of look bad on me. You know who looks good in a turtleneck? Cambria's husband.
Oh yeah! Congratulations to our first and number 1 fan, Cambria Hobbs, on your nuptials.
Yeah.
We love you.
guys are so cute.
So much. You and Dawn did both look extremely hot in your wedding photo.
Yeah, little cuties.
Yeah, but he does look very good in a turtleneck. A very Italian model of him.
Yeah. That's that. Thank you to Glenna McKenzie for our theme song. Do you have a sign-off?
Quick before we get into that, another thing you can check out if you're craving EHR content is our side project,
Right.
Letters to Hosier. We've now released 5 letters. Multiple people have said they've made them cry.
That's troubling.
Which I don't. Which, I mean, I think that's a great compliment. I just never conceive of them as something that would make someone cry. I don't know. But thank you.
I feel some emotion while writing them, and then immediately it's gone.
I mean, that's how Emily experiences emotion. It's like a fleeting flicker in the back of her head.
It's there, and then it's gone, compartmentalized away. See ya.
But everyone's been very nice, so thank you to everyone who's let us know that you've enjoyed those. I don't know, it's been actually a very good week. I don't really have a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Emily did walk in also on the same Alexander the Great Sunday and be like, there's just a decomposing mouse on the sidewalk outside. So that was a fun
Pretty nasty.
coloring.
Right when my
weekend.
nephew came to visit,
Oh,
so I had to be like, okay, I have to carry you. You can't walk on the sidewalk in your bare feet because you'll get dead mouse disease.
Yeah. And
or
you could just
whatever.
hear Jack screaming, no!
He did not want to get in his car seat.
Jack was so upset about getting and stopping bothering Tibble, which is what he was doing.
Yeah, then I reached into my shirt pocket and pulled out some Reese's that I gave to his mom, my sister, who really likes Reese's. I was like, do you want these? And she was like, yeah, and unwrapped one and was like, Jack, do you want this? And he immediately stopped crying and was like, okay.
Okay. I wish I was 2 and all my problems could go away if someone gave me a bite-sized Reese's.
Right? I mean, to him, it's like huge.
I mean, yeah, to him it's the size of his
It's like a
sweaty
full-ass-
little fist.
His grubby little hands.
He's so cute.
He's so grubby.
He's a very grubby child.
I know, just sort of
And
constantly
I
covered
love
in filth.
that for him. He's got big Macathon energy there. Just sort of always dirty and chaotic.
Okay, thanks for listening. Hope you all have a good week.
Yeah.
Absolutely do not do as Mazarum Tim does war crimes.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Fuck.